I'm called Mugoya Besweri Mungesi. I'm a Munyole by tribe. I come from Butaleja district. I'm a retired civil servant and I stay in Tororo district.
Nze bampita mukyala Petwa Mungesi. Ali musawo naye ndi retired midwife. Mukama yatublessinga n'abaana abaliwo 4 naye nazaala abaana 6. The first one is called Dr. Judith Namyonga. He works with Mulago Heart Institute. The second one is called Joel Mugabi Mungesi over Kaita. And then I have Joseph Kaita. And then I have Joan Namsabi. The 3, they are albinos.
My name is Joseph Mwebaza. I'm a textile designer and clothing technologist. Apparently, I went to school and I'm a graduate of Chambogo University, and I do lots of things. Apart from graphic designing, I do cooking, keyboard lessons, daycare, very many, to make sure that I can earn a living.
I'm called Mugabi Joel. I'm 38 years of age. I did building construction. I design buildings. I supervise roads. I can do construction works. Currently, I'm based in West Nile. Not really doing much, but to survive, a way of surviving. I went to school, come from Butaleja. I have a beautiful daughter and a handsome son, both 8 years of age.
Joanita Namusavi is my name. I grew up from Tororo, but I am from Butaleja district. Of course, I come from a family of 4 children, whereby 3 are persons with albinism and 1 black, but born to black parents.
So my name is Judith Namuyonga Twesime. I am a Ugandan, born in Butaleja. I'm the firstborn to the family of 3 albinos, but I am the only black, raised by 2 black parents. Right now I'm a mother of 4. I'm a medical doctor, to say I'm a pediatric cardiologist, and I am born again.
Nebaza Mukama kubanga yabampa era niwe yabampa saatya nnyo naddala bwe yampa Jowero nasooka okulaba kujjako neebuuza nti Mukama ngampadde omwana omweru ate mu nsi tutwale nazaalira mu Kenya, Abanakenya nabo bagenda batunula naye saatya still saatya nasibula nenzirayo nekoma mu Uganda, buli omu neyeewuunya naye era still kyantiisa nnyo. Neebazanga Mukama, omanyi bw'oyagala Mukama buli kyonna kyakuwa abeera mwana, ate n'obeera bona again omanya nti byonna Mukama yabitegese. Omwana n'akula, buli wantu ne bamwagala abamu, naye ate abamu nabatandika okugiranga ebitiisa oyo omwana namago ya kisiraani ekyo. Abamu ne bamugulumizanga nti oyo Katonda, mu Busoga bagamba oyo bamuyita gundi Mukama.
Wenafuna Jowero tekyali kyekango ky'amaanyi nti ntidde. Agamba nti kize.
Albinism is something we studied in medical school as a disorder, that autosomal recessive disorder. And so for it to manifest in a family, both parents needed to have a gene that later manifests, a recessive gene that presents them with children that have albinism. So the inheritance or the genetics of albinism are similar to the genetics of sickle cell anemia. So you cannot have a child with sickle cell disease if you're not a carrier or if you don't carry a recessive gene.
Era nayagala nnyo bwe nafuna omwana oyo buli mu maka galingamu omwana afaanana bw'atyo nga mbatuukirira ne mbabuuza ne mbalagira ekyokukola ndaba nti mukole bwe mutu bwe mukole era ne balaba nga ati gakola ki nga gayamba. Nali ndi awo wadde omwana omugamba togenda mu kasana naye era sikiro ng'agenda mu musana. He goes to play with their friends. Akomawo yena anubuse mu maaso yena ali ready. Aya no awo ng'akuzeemuko n'okubako naye ate bw'okuba n'atuusaawo naye n'omugamba tugendangayo oluusi ogeza kumusiga bizigo alyoka agenda akole ki alyoka agenda asome.
My mother and my father, because my father was still alive, and my mother, they said, don't worry. You know, I was born twins. And he said, my mlongo, don't worry. You have also produced the twins. So a lot of people, if they don't see this one, they think they are twins. They didn't have any problem. Only my mother told me, my son, you be firm. But only people, they get scared of them. When they see them, they say, where are we going to put them?
Balinga oluusi nga bagamba nti ffe nga tuli banjawulo ku bali abalala. Bwe tugenda okusoma, abaana bose baagala kutuula nabo wamu. Nga balabanga nti waliwo ki ekibakosaamu. Naye nze nga kyenna okubagamba nti mwe Mukama yabatuwa nga mufaanana bwe mutyo. Era yali amanyi nti mufaanana bwe mutyo n'okubeera mu nsi namubeere nga bali abaddugavu. Namusome temweraliikira kasita ffe bazadde bammwe weetuli. Tujja kukola byonna ebisoboka musome. Era mutuuke gye mutuuka temwenyooma. N'abo ababavuma mubaleke kubanga Katonda ye yabatonda nabo nammwe yabatonda.
As we grew up, because one, people thought we are rejected, our parents did something wrong. Being a doctor, I looked back 4 generations, and as a Christian, you look back, where did things go wrong? Is there anyone that actually was an albino and carried the gene? I did not see that. People thought that maybe they would die, they would disappear, they don't see.
God, they have a problem of the sight. And the problem of the color. The sunshine comes, you find others. Bw'obalaba, oyinza okubalaba olususu luno. Nga teruli very smooth ng'olwajjo wano. Olaba amaaso, nalwegata others bagendanga okulaba. Andabye, tanaba.
Growing up as an albino is a challenge. How? That society lives in a lot of ignorance, and fitting in society is also so tricky. First of all, most people believe that being born as an albino is a curse. 2, people think albinos are so delicate that can't do any work. We don't die, we disappear. Then to the extreme, other tribes believe we are supernatural beings that either bless or can curse somebody.
Oli wali akyaddewo omuntu n'akola ki n'aŋŋamba nsinkana naye nga si mu kanisa n'aŋŋamba nti maama gundi ojja onvueko enviiri z'omwana oyo naye mugamba nviiri ozitwala wa? Omwana wange oyagala kumutta. Where are you taking the air? You want to take it on the grave? Baana bankubasiraani abo nabo bafwe. Bawa basome nga ne basoma tewali oba emizimu zibaddirenga buli lunaku. Omukyala n'aswala. Nempitako gunayita nempitako omukaalo ebranti. Laba ono bansaba nviiriza abaana. Lwaki ansaba? Lwaki tatwala zize? Lwaki atwaleza abaana bange? Kale nga babikolerako mbu bagamba mbu otwala ebintu ebyo obeera mugagga. Nesi bugagga bwokka babakolako ebintu byonna bye baagala. Manyi these days waliwo underground. basacrificinga batwala enviiri ezo batandika okuyita omuntu naye nagamba nedda nyabo ekyokoze ulokoka kuva mu ebyo n'enjala n'engoye basala kubanga mbuza abantu bano batwale babeere bagagga era tubasabira nnyo tubasabiranga nnyo eyo batambulira wonna Mukama abateekeko omusaayi gwe.
You know, even in school, I'll give an example. When I was in P1, I had a teacher who beat me. I think she just didn't like me. I don't know, because she would beat me so hard. Even when they would put me in front, they would come and mock me. Like, so you want to sit next to the blackboard, even when you're sitting here in front, you're not seeing. And I'm like, oh. Then growing up, you move in the streets and they call you names. Let me say it in Uganda, that's Namagoye name.
I hate
and
it.
yet, yeah, of course, even me, when they call me, even now, of course, you feel like you freeze a bit, but you're like, okay, that one happens. And they would call me names and would go back home and tell Judy, Mommy, and they're like, don't mind them. After all, you were created in God's own image. So that one, at least I knew, even if someone would approach me, I would be like, yeah, I'm fearfully and wonderfully made in God's own image. Besides those names, they said we had wealth, that our families would be rich. But when you look at our home, when we grew up, we literally had nothing because we used to beg even sugar from the neighbors. And of course, they weren't bad, they would give us, but that poverty thing, your friends are going with their families out and you're staying back. As a child, of course, your mom would comfort and be like, we shall go next time when the money is there. Maybe next Christmas we shall buy you clothes. And I think they said, we don't die, we disappear. But in Uganda, I think it came from this region. Like when we decided to carry out research, it is like the way they say twins. When a twin passes away, they say abuse. Then bringing it to persons with albinism, instead of saying she has died, bagamba abuze. Yes, so others think like they have disappeared, which is not the thing. They have died. But for them, they say they disappear. And there was an incident. It was a couple of persons with albinism. Of course, the lady died, and the husband had to fight with the community because they wanted to bury her that night, saying she's going to disappear. The body had even to sleep in the mortuary. Police had to intervene, and the body was kept in the mortuary and was buried the next day. Of course, people kept on opening to see whether it is, yeah, she's the one.
When we were in school, people thought we couldn't see completely, we could knock walls or move around. Fine, it is true sometimes because you need to practice, like he said. You practice on how to focus. You learn on how to view certain things in different angles. You know, somebody tells you, you see how he's looking, or you see how he's focusing. A normal person with normal eyesight wants you to focus the way he's focusing. For instance, he wants you to look at something direct, yet for you have an angle that you're properly comfortable with in reading something or observing something. Somebody says, oh no, day, you know, yet for you, you're sure what again to you've done something in the right way.
Well, they struggle with vision. Joseph told you, and if you listen to Joseph's talk, most of it was about vision. But my role as a firstborn was to, first of all, discipline and make sure they are doing the right things. Are they going to school? Are they able to study? Joel was particularly not. I remember at one point when I would chase him to shower, and he would run in. Our mother is a midwife, and so most of our time we grew up in missionary hospitals. And at that point, the salaries were very, very minimal. So even raising fees, say for myself, was difficult. For me, I had to study and compete for a position of the first position or second in order to get a scholarship. Now, Joel was in also a missionary school, but his fees, I think, was much lower. So with the little salary of a midwife in a missionary hospital, this lady had to struggle and push us. So I knew, and of course the burden got back on me. I said, if I don't study, if I do not grow up as a disciplined child, or if I mess up myself with boys in school, we are doomed. Because life was difficult. We had to, on top of the little salary she earned, it was me that had to go to the market. It was me that had to do the small selling of pancakes, bananas. Our most difficult life was in Kamuli district. There's a time when we transferred to Tororo, the neighbors' children came and looked at them so different, got soil and threw in their eyes. It really bothered me so much. I just felt like grabbing somebody, but I mean, I could not fight.
Abasonga basookanga batene basekerera. Basooka okubasekerera. Abaana ne bajja ne beerolera bonna ne bamugoberera. Oluusi omusomesa yagamba muveewo onuye muntu. Abaana bonna ne bujja ne butandika okutunuulira. Ne butunuulira. Ali amangu naddala nga John ng'akaaba. Abakaaba amangu nga bakaaba. Naye abagumu nga baguma. Joseph nga yagamba nja kubakuba. Abasomesa abamu nga babaagala naye ate abasomesa abamu nabo nga balinga abaana abato. Abantu tebali kugunaizinga nti nawo omwana afaana bw'ata yakalako keya. Ate ng'ogenza oyogedde nabo nti banange omwana ono yeetaaga kino munyambe oba akole bw'ati naye era bo tebafaayo bamuleka bulesi.
The eyes to reading that they take time to finish the exams, what they are doing. So, what I did was to go to the Ministry of Education to get a permission to give me a letter to allow them to be having extra hours when they are doing exams. But when we brought them, some of the teachers got jealous. They didn't even allow them to do the exams according to them. But God helped them to pass the exam.
Bwe baali abato bonna baali bulungi bonna nga baba bato bazannya buli kimu. Naye nolaba nga waliwo omwana gw'olaba nti ono ate ali stubborn nnyo. Nolaba ate waliwo ali so polite so nogamba mwana wange gwe kolangako bikola otya. Nolaba nga tebifaanana. Nowabeerawo ate alina obusungu obungi kagambo katono nga yanyiize dda. Naye era si okubakumakuma nogamba nedda. Obusungu obwo tujja batwala wantu mubuleke. Kubanga nga muli omuntu mulina okulaba nti mubeera calm. Mubeera simple with people. Namwe mubeere mu community.
There are times where people could exceed the limit of those conceptions. Somebody oversteps on your toes. Somebody over insults, even if you educate you and tell him, man, you know, sibiyagala omuntu n'alemerako n'akola ki. So we began learning. Ate nange neeraba nga siri wanjawulo nnyo n'abalala. So nga nange ndaba nga musobola omuntu agamba gwe nkukuba. Nega like, will always be humble every time nga bankuba agamba nkukuba gwe sirika. So time comes where basagala, you know, we mwegezaamu nange simuyoola. So you begin learning and say, okay, nange muyoola. You realize that, hey, there's some things that I can also do. Teba nkuba oluyi lugenda vvawo after some time sigenda kuvaako skill. The misconception that people have that we can't do, but in general, we can also do. When I look at general analysis on my lifetime, like the way I've been brought up or the way I've grown to this level, I really don't think the community has done much, if any, in trying to change my life or push me to where I am. I've said this because when you look at school, maybe teachers who hope to guide me in class, like to teach me, to correct me in certain levels. There came a point in school whereby teachers, even themselves, did not understand how to handle persons with albinism, because in the past we were few and we were rare. So they did not understand how to help them. Mom could come to school fine and plead with them. My boys don't see clearly on the board. And the teacher's work is just to carry and put you in front. And even if they put you in front at the board, you will not see the board. Simply because our vision is not really good. Even if you are in front and if you 2 meters out from the blackboard or 1.5 meters, Okay, 1.5 you can see maybe, but 2 meters or 3 away from the board, still you won't see. There's no difference. You'll have to ask a teacher and stand and observe and go back and sit, or somebody has to dictate the notes. That's now the school community.
For us, when we were born, Mama never kept us in the house like very, very delicate people. We were exposed to the environment. And somehow, the skin, I think, adjusted partly to the environment. That's why I said I can easily drive in town, whether in the night or day. He can ride a motorcycle on the streets in Kampala, just because I think that practice finally brings what to perfection.
Naye community sinyo okujjako kugamba bugambi mukazi yazaala bonna kati basatu ekyokka naye nga teri support yonna nga support ffe teri atugabira bintu oba najja nayagamba nti kanyamba abantu bano nedda ffe twafuna support yonna mu maka mu bantu kujja kye twafunako mu maka mu well wishers twana doctor omudwaliro yasobola okumpa protective cream for the children oyo yekka n'oluusi obugoye nampa naye nga wona teri.
Now, general community, if I look at my relatives like uncles, aunties, for instance, home, I really don't think they did much, because there came a point in life where we were tossed around. When we go to the uncle's place, they say, abana mubazeye wachi, ewabwe. When we go to our place, they say, ambazeye bukoja, you know, because they didn't know how to handle.
Wetwale eno bubeere bukojja baana bajjeeyo baana batwale ewaabwe gye bazaalibwa kati otuuka ewaabwe gye bazaalibwa nabalina bagamba batwale eri neewuunya mbatwalewa.
The times when we're in school, of course, being the only albino in a class of 100 pupils or students is challenging. But as time went on, friends got to know us. People got used to us. Actually, I remember in secondary school, my friends would tell me, you man, you're not so much different from us. It is only the color. You run, you do this. But that only comes in after you've taken some time with someone. So there is no way you can get to know how an albino behaves or they are normal human beings when you don't stay with them. Now, like in West Nile, someone told me, a very educated man, told me of recent, yet I've been there for a whole year, told me, you are the first albino I've seen and interacted with ever since I was born. That is an educated man. So I told him, what do you mean? He said, in West Nile, I think you may even be the only albino. And told me, do you know why when you were here all of last year, it was very challenging for anybody to give you a job? Why? He said, West Nile is too hot and people think you will melt on the road. That's why they've not been giving you any job. But now when we started seeing you do some small things, now we realize you're normal, like any other human being. That's why now we can give you access to do small things. What? But to some of us now, like us in family, we had a lot of support from our parents and our sister, who never really gave up on us, were there for us, and never got that irritation being moving with us or being related to us. So that was the first confidence that they built in us. We got used to stay in environment and survive. That's why you see, even if I moved on a street somewhere, someone said, albino, it doesn't even affect me because it's a normal thing. All I do, I only get to you and tell you, I am called Joel.
Community albinism. Batiisa nnyo n'okwogerako oluusi bamanya nti ekyo oluusi amaka galimu albinism kibeera ng'ekikolimo nti abo yazaala abo kwegamba boogerako bubi tebabeetaaga era ayinza okunaba oli engeri gye batalaba bulungi oluusi n'akola amaaso n'atunula bw'ati laba bwakola amaaso laba bwakola amannyo nga tebamanyi nti aba tulayinga kukola ki kulaba n'oli wabanga azadde namagoye era ogenda okulaba amaka agamu abasajja babadduseeko babalekedde bokka omukazi n'atoba n'abaana yekka ekya society ne community tebabyogerako tebamanyi gye biva balowooza nti Katonda aleetawo bintu bye byamagero, byamagero. Ate otugenda nga mugundi Christianity, God does miracles so that people may believe that God can do this also. Nolaba omweru n'abeera muddugavu. That's God's what? Making.
Community has not done much. Because like for me, I've struggled a lot. But once in a while, the community is there. But no one has ever said that, you know what, you can do this thing, come I take you and you do this. No. I have friends who are technical, who are very big men. But none of them has said that, come and do this. They will only give you that petty works, come and do this simple thing, do for me this. And actually, most cases, community comes to you like, I did AutoCAD, I design plans. Someone will come to you, gives you a laptop, you design a plan of, let's say, worth 2.5 million shillings. But just because he's taking advantage of you at that particular time, you want money to survive, we'll give you 100,000. And you will pick it because you need it. Or will tell you, but just because you want to survive. I was applying for a job in Arua. Then he told me, you belong amongst the disabilities. You should go the other side. Then I told him, no. This albinism is not a disability. It is a condition. It doesn't mean that I can't work. My family never denied me. They accepted me. They knew, yes, he has this problem, but he has to survive. So mom pushed us through school up to a certain level where things became a bit hard for her. And then my elder sister now picked up from there. But by the time she picked up from there, I don't think she was earning. She was still at university. So that faculty allowance, I think, because she was on government, is what she would split for tuition. So the biggest backbone that has pushed me through is her. Because now you see, as mom grew old, the funds also what? The funds reduced. So we now have to rely on one person. Till now.
And that time we failed to get funding from AEE, we failed to get funding. You know, these projects like Compassion have just come up, probably. But it was difficult for us. We had no voice. There was no voice. So the black person should have been the voice for the family. But even the voice for the family was not able to talk. I had to bless God for where He brought me. And I'm grateful for that documentary that is going to open the eyes of so many people. So I used my faculty allowance to support with the fees. So while in our third year, and that faculty allowance was a little more in our third year, they would give us about 500,000 to buy stethoscopes and take care of you in the regional hospitals. But I remember getting that money and taking it home and told Mom, let's add this for the fees for the boys. And in my first year, second year, all I did was to make chapatis, and she was my salesperson. So I would get up early at 5 a.m. to do chapatis, and then she would take them and sell in a school. And then and I don't even know what she went through. As I would say, what are you selling? Then she said, we are selling. Selling what? Very tough, but we had to be supportive so as to get some extra money. Joanne would get fainting episodes. I don't even know why you would faint, but probably it was anxiety. Now that I see it, because of so much stress that people would put on them, talking for her at school, you're looking like this. One time we're walking to church with her and she fainted at the roadside. I wasn't a doctor. I didn't know what to do, but I just remember saying, Joanne, wake up. I didn't even know how to support. But thank God that maybe it was, now I understand as a cardiologist, that probably she had a lot of stress, she had a lot of tension, and that she just black out at certain times.
Growing up, I wasn't segregated like so much. I found it at the workplace. And it was my first time to get it, where people would be like, and we were getting food from the same company, the same plates, the same. I'm like, what? And they go to a point and be like, why would Madam employ a person with albinism, and they are black people. Katoi agenda tuyamba chi, will she carry a crate? And I would work. I used to work not because I wanted to limit myself, but I had to work to impress everyone. And they used not to see that. We had a blender, but it was a little faulty, so I had to do pineapple juice. And you know when something is faulty, you ask your friend to help you out, like, help me. And the guy refused, so he went and reported to the manager that I've refused to make juice. They sent me back home, came back the next day, and they were all harsh. So I was like, let me just resign. Why am I suffering like this? I'll find something to do. Of course, that is how I was forced to resign, because I wasn't seen like a human being, and I did a lot of work, donkey work, and my salary was not increased. So I tried looking for jobs, got another one, and it also closed. So I had to do business, at least self-employment. But even there are some challenges. Of course, I will not call it a challenge, but it is something good that people know that we can also own what? Businesses. Yeah, there's a customer who came, and I think they were expecting someone black. So when I came from behind and they saw me, of course I saw her, like she tried to get scared, and you know, that you can tell that someone is shocked. And then they came back. Well, you don't show them, you sell it to them, and they go, someone like, can I touch you? Like, yes, please do. Please do. And there's a lady who delivers swimming costumes. Sometimes she's like, John, you know you like us. You say that the color is different, but we are the same. I'm like, yes, thank you. Thank God you know. Like, the first day I saw you, I'm like, how am I going to sell clothes to this woman? How is she even going to give me the money? Is she going to just throw it over the pencil? Then I was in Kwasamunga, and I'm like, hey. And she's like, if I find anyone like you, I think I will not. Those days, I would be like, she passes this way, I pass the other way. But now we can even cross, like, move on the same lane with them. I'm like, oh, thank God. At least now I have created awareness. They know that we are the same. Mm-hmm. Yeah, even people have started accepting me. They come and buy. Yeah.
There is a friend who connected me to go and do some road in a place called Kazwama, in Nakasongola, from Nakasongola to Kazwama. So when I was coming back to Kampala, I stopped a taxi. There was, I think, either a Mulalo woman, because that side of Nakasongola, this Banyarwanda is here. When the man stopped, they opened and told me to sit there, where she was seated. That lady moved out of that part and went and sat behind. I said, I cannot sit with this one, and I sat here. I looked at it as funny, but I didn't care. But the people in the taxi were the ones who got concerned, and they told the driver, let her just get out. And they requested her to get out. They said, you cannot sit with him. That go in the taxi and all. It looked weird, because I'd never seen such a thing. And the way she looked at me, she spoke a lot of language, then she spat. I was like, it's funny. There's a time went to set up a building in a place called, see when you're the other side of Nebi, there is a ferry that throws you in Wanseko towards Koima, towards Masindi. So when we reached the ferry, most people refused to step on that ferry to move with us. So I told him, what is the problem? He said they think that since you look like this and the ferry is going through the water, demons may grab this ferry and you go with them and they die. So most people did not get onto the ferry. So it is only us who got to the ferry and we went. They're like, because we were with this guy. You know, that side, the Congolese practice a lot of witchcraft along that border. That Parombo border, that side. So I was like, let's move with this ferry and I see how it will capsize. Even most of them, my colleagues are even fearing to move with me. That those demons will come and I disappear because I'm part of them. I'm one of them.
They said they will not produce. The women will reject them. You can marry albino, get married to albino. I can also produce albino. But you find the other side of the coin. They are better than black boys. 2, they say they will not produce. But my children there, 3 of them, they have children. They have boys, they have girls. So I said, haha, that is a blessing to my family and myself. I have my grandchildren, but they are not producing albinos. All my grandchildren from them, they are black and they are very bright.
My biggest support system at the moment from childhood has been my family. That one I can say it clearly, that my family has always been there for me from childhood. It's my family actually, not relatives, not uncles, because a support system is something that keeps pushing you to move forward. In education, medically, university, even sometimes in business, you get stuck. Somebody has an order, you have an order to make, you don't have the capital because you're still doing small. It says, I need this and this and this and this, gives you 50%. 50% cannot do all the work at once. So you need to look around and say, am I going to get money? I can't go in for loans, I can't. Sometimes you try, you go into the family and say, I run ABCD. So that is, to cut this short, just to summarize this as me, what I think I can say is that the biggest support I have made in my life, even up to today, is within my family, because you can save in the time of upbringing, even we couldn't run to relatives, we couldn't run to government to get loans, and there's nothing. It's just a small cycle in the family of 6.
Well, when you be there in West Island, things are hard. You struggle for like a week without a coin. Then time comes just to survive, just hand to mouth. Yet most cases, when we move, when I decide to move in different places, you assume maybe you'll get something to do, because sometimes the exposure is not too much. So you choose to go far and try to do something. But it's still hard, but she's the same one. When things fail, we again get back to her. This has failed. You see? In most cases, and the good thing is that as we grew up and came out of school, got a few qualifications here and there, that spoon feeding stopped. So she pushes you to do something. You get it? But even doing that something, that breakthrough, the break-even point, we haven't gotten there. So those are the future levels. Most of them I just laugh them off. So for me, those worst experiences don't put me down. They make me more stronger.
And the good thing, I'm proud of them. They are very friendly.
The word of encouragement I can give albinos out there is one. The most important one, accept yourself. That you were born an albino and you will never change. 2, avoid self-pity. Even when they have not gone to school, you've not gone to school. There are many hands-on, small courses that of late government is pushing through that you can venture in to do, maybe like carpentry, small things like fashion and design, tailoring, those catering, something that can bring in, because right now, there is nobody who can give you support all the time when there's nothing tangible that they are seeing. Hand to mouth, no. You need to, at least someone can inject into something that you are doing. Like me. I mix cement, I mix aggregates, I push them. In West Nile, Pakwach is in Lower Benson. The temperatures, if it is very low, it is 45 degrees Celsius. But I work. How do I work? If site starts at 6:30, I make sure I do my portion from 6:30 to around midday when the sun is now scorching. I stop. Then I resume at 4:30 and I work marathon up to 7 to catch up with the what? That time frame. That is the only way. Now when I'm going to you can't survive in this country today. Because one thing I know, where Uganda has gotten today, there are no free things. If someone is giving something free, that means there is a reason behind it for that free thing. 2, to the parents who give birth to these albinos, 1, support them and accept them.
Persons with albinism ought to think outside the box or outside the bracket, in that when you're born with an impairment of albinism, don't only focus on what you are and forgetting that you have other talents or the other strengths that you have or you can do. For instance, somebody can be born with albinism, and because the family is not so supportive, somebody may think, because teachers can't understand what you're doing. So a child will begin losing morale in school, fears even to go. For instance, if they are pregnant or they have females with albinism, may fear to go for antenatal because of the community. You're the only white person among the blacks, and you fear to be exposed. So I just encourage them to think outside the box. If you feel you cannot go to the health center as early as possible, or if you feel you cannot think outside the box and say, let me create this, let me do this, we are normal by the way. Balina otegeera bannaffe nti bwe balina omwongo omuntu omuddugavu, enjawulo yokka eriwo ya skin color. Skin color n'amaaso butalaba bulungi, naye balaba naye tebalaba ki bulungi. So baleme kwesaasira, baveeyo, let them not hide, tebeekweka. Baveeyo, waliwo ebitongole ebiriwo, they can educate them and help them get jobs.
The support in the community, raising awareness. You know, like they raise awareness on mosquito nets, or being faithful, the ABC strategy of HIV prevention. It's the same information that we need to pass on into the community that about people living with albinism. And so this trickles into the schools because there are many children that are not able to access education because they are not getting support in the schools. Now, Joanita didn't tell you that even in one of the Kampala schools, I think because of what we've gone through, we look out to support people with albinism on an individual basis. But if it is strategized by government, but people living with albinism need support in the community, in the schools, have billboards that just put a picture of one of them and say they live the normal lives, pass it on television, document it.
Even foreign countries to support them so that they can not think of we abandon the property. If like in the family they say there is the United Nations NGO is trying to support you with your family, I become happy because I know those are the benefits which are going to help them. If we are doing, they have supported us, we can put up a building, a house for them and their children, my grandchildren, from them. I want the public to show them love and to say to know they are part of us and them. If there is any job somebody is employing, he can say, oh, I want a driver. He says, I'm a driver, I have a driving permit. Give him.
She struggled in school because the teachers didn't know. People don't know that people with albinism are human beings. They breathe, they have blood, they die, they get sick. There's a family in Tororo. I will still talk about it. And these initiatives we do on an individual basis, we are supporting this family. And just because mom got to learn that families with albinism are struggling. So she told me of a family in Mela. There's a place called Mela in Tororo. They had 3 of them, I think, 3 or 4. 4 of them. 2 died last year. 1 died of cancer. Another had been raped several times and caught hepatitis B that later claimed her life. I think she had the cancer of some sorts also. Now, the ones that are left, even when he walks, say, to Tororo Hospital, they are looked at differently. We need information passed on by the government of Uganda, by the Ministry of Health, by the Ministry of Education, by the Ministry of Gender and Social, I hope I'm saying it right. We need this information passed on about protection of people with albinism. Even when they are competing for, say, education in the universities, can you give them extra time? Can you understand the circumstances they are learning in so that even when you're marking, you know that this person has albinism. Nowadays, their pictures are on. So you know the challenges. It's like the extra 1.5 points government put up for the girl child at university. So why not think of something for people with albinism? Put up scholarships. so that they come up and compete. And Josh, this is with all due respect, he turned his hair. He put dyes in the hair, and I don't even know the circumstances he was going through. Probably someone said, "You're looking like this." And so he struggled to fit in. They struggle to fit in and accept themselves. So we, the community, should make it easy for them to fit in. Don't look at them, don't despise them, don't say all sorts of things. If you're the employer, actually you should have positions for people with albinism.
Please accept us. We want to be accepted by the community. Our relatives, friends, don't just come to be my friend because I have something. I need genuine friends. And another thing is, we need funds. Now, right now, I may be doing business and there is someone out there in the village who is having nothing but are willing to work. Besides the education bit, maybe some people dropped out and they can't get back to school. And all they can do is work to support their children or families. Because most people and women with albinism are single mothers. So we need support in that way, either scholarships for our children or ourselves. Basically, I didn't tell you at first, I am a mother of two. Yes, that is it. And another thing is sunscreen. Sunscreen is key because we have lost many of our sisters and brothers to skin cancer. Like they said, our skin is not good to the sun. The ultra rays bounce into our skin, and the more it accumulates, we develop a cancer. So the sunscreen helps to create another layer, which helps the rays not to get into our skin direct.
They don't need so much. They are not prone to having heart diseases or anything. They are like any other human being, but they need sunscreens to prevent the squamous cell carcinoma, which claims most of them. And then to the general public, let's learn to live with everyone. Ugandans have been known to be friendly. They are lovely people. Even when they've moved out in other countries, they know Ugandans are lovely. Let's treat each other with a lot of respect and honor each other so that people live comfortably. The girl child, the boy child with albinism, put up scholarships. Let them get degrees. Let them get master's degrees. So if they can have a voice by, first of all, the papers they have earned, then people will listen to them. But if they all end up with certificates and diplomas, no one will listen to them. So open up doors for scholarships. They can be competitive, but support them and maybe district quotas or something like that. Thank you very much.
The community should learn to accept us the way we are, because this is us. We can't change who we are. Please, bosses, employers, these employers, because we also need to survive. Like the Bible says in Uganda, atakole no kulia talienga. So when I am not working, where will I get the food?
Community no kutegeera nti abaana abo abantu abafaana bwe bati si baana bokka n'abakadde bwe bali nalaba ku yuzi bonna Katonda yabatonda yabaleeta mu nsi yabaleeta ng'alinaki ng'anakyagendera kubanga buli Katonda kyakola ana reason why yagala erinnya lye ligulumizibwe kubanga asobola okubikola omuntu n'abeerawo nga omuddugavu naye n'akola emirimu ng'egy'ekiddugavu n'azaala abaana n'awasa buli kimu yagala kutulaga bakimanye nti nabo bantu baleme kubakola ki kubagobera bweru baleme kubabonyaabonya abaana bato basome kwegamba baleme kuba discouraginga babeereyo baleme kukweka baana ng'ozadde omwana n'okweka nedda omwana mugjeeyo omwana mugjeeyo kubanga naye mwana alina okulabirirwa.
Our teachers, please don't beat us when we don't do your work. It is not that we don't want to do, though there are some who don't want to do, but sometimes the blackboard, that font, is hard. You just see white on the board and you can't read any sentence. You'll be like, okay, there are wordings on the blackboard, but I can't read them. To the Ministry of Education, first send out a policy to support children living with albinism in schools, avoiding teasings, educate the teachers. Maybe you'll have some kind of policy or part of the education system in the primary school teachers or secondary school, so that they get to know that our community has all kinds of people and we need to learn how to treat them.